Up until recently, I thought my biggest business mistake was having too many interests and potentially confusing my audience. It's not ideal, right? But it turns out I was wrong because I made a bigger business mistake and it was starting to cause a lot of problems, making it harder to create content, kept me from being consistent. I started to feel disconnected from my work, and even worse, I started to feel disconnected from the audience who had joined me somewhere along the way. So what did I do? Or should I say, what did I not do? I didn't define my audience. Or as some people would say, I failed to choose a niche, which is something that every content creator and entrepreneur is encouraged to do, and for good reason. Also, I should share that when I was ready to define my niche, I made a second mistake, but more on that later. You see, when I started making content, I picked a topic and I thought, I just want to make content that I wish I had access to. And I think that's actually a really great way to start. But the problem is, when you feel like you can help a lot of people, it becomes a little bit harder to narrow it down to one group of people. It almost feels a little bit selfish, but also I had the thought of, I want to help as many people as possible. And while that sounds noble, it actually makes your life more difficult. It's harder to create content when you're trying to talk to everyone. And while I say that it's noble to want to help all the people, the real reason I wasn't defining a niche was because of fear. I was scared. I didn't want to pick a niche. I didn't want to define an audience. And when I say I was afraid, that alone doesn't help. So what was I actually afraid of? And I think there were three things that were happening for me. The first thing is I was afraid of telling people this is not for you. It's for this group. It's not for you. The people pleaser in me just felt this dread of saying, I can't choose one group and leave other people out. That was a huge fear for me. The second one was financial. This is how I earn a living. And I thought, what if I pick the wrong niche? I don't pick a profitable audience, or there's not enough customers, or maybe there's too much competition. And all of that made me really nervous and kind of kept me frozen. And then finally, I didn't want to screw up publicly. If I say this is who I help and this is my audience and it doesn't work and I fall flat on my face, that felt pretty awful as well. But even though I can poke holes in all of these fears, I know they're not totally founded, or that even if they happen, I'll be okay. They still felt very real. And so they had a power over me and they were keeping me stuck. That is until that discomfort or all the issues I was causing by not defining an audience actually got greater than the fear. So once those scales tipped, I was ready. I was ready to pick a niche. But that's where my second mistake comes in. You see, I started having conversations with other content creators, entrepreneurs, and I was talking about all the different options, who I can help, how I can help, what that might look like. And those were really energizing conversations. I felt like I had a lot of potential, but I didn't realize that even during these conversations, I was letting fear take the wheel. Fear was driving me. I was trying to pick what was safe, and I wasn't really listening to myself. But I didn't know that at that time. It wasn't until on a whim, I confessed my mistake to my email list and I said, hey, in the 4 years that I've been an entrepreneur, I've never defined my audience. And I think I have to do something about that now. And I asked for help, and help they did. This is not even all of the replies. This is just one page of replies. And as I made my way through all of these, that's when I realized my mistake, the second mistake, which is I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't asking myself who I wanted to help. I was going on scarcity and fear and what feels safe instead of what I truly want to do. And what I truly want to do is to help entrepreneurs and creators who are running live workshops, webinars, or courses. I want to help this group of people to take their live presenting and their virtual workshops to the next level so that they look like a pro, so that they have a strong presence and they're engaging and they run something that feels seamless and leaves their audience not only wowed, but wanting more. They'll end the call feeling energized and excited and inspired instead of drained or depleted like so many people feel at the end of a virtual session. If this sounds like you and you're not on my email list, I would invite you to join. I've got the link in the description. But I also want to say, if this doesn't sound like you, well, first of all, you're still welcome here, wherever here is, because now that I know who I'm talking to, I'm going to be able to show up more consistently. And when I'm more consistent, I can be creating content that really helps with creating more professional, engaging, and seamless live virtual presentations.